What's up, Wizards? It's Mooner. I'm back today, and I've got a tier list. You love them, you know them, we all hate them. They're all stupid. This one, like all of my tier lists, is super professional and legit, but take it with a complete grain of salt. I just want to go over the national season meta and where I think it's at. What decks you should play. Don't take my advice. If you're a new player, listen, tier lists are absolute bullshit. If you like a hero and you vibe with that hero, just play it, man. Learn that hero, and we all know that one day, if it's a shitty hero now, it's never gonna be it's not gonna be a shitty hero forever. So if you like a hero and you vibe with it, just learn that hero, play it, become a specialist, and then when it gets its day in the sun and it's time to shine, like, you'll be ready to rip. So that's my advice to you. Don't take any of this like as gospel or anything. These are just my opinions, and I'm a flawed human being, so that's that. And also, I'm very biased towards Wizards. So, having said that, I just wanted to go over, like I said, the Nationals meta, and I live in the U.S., so I have a slight bias towards my United States meta. But also, I want to say, if you're a new member, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and all that stuff. And after this video, stick around, because I am doing a giveaway of the Waning Moon playmat. I meant to do that when we hit like 300 subscribers, but like we just like flew past that, and we're now over 355 subscribers. So that's super awesome. Thank you guys for all the love and support and all the kind words you guys give to me. I really appreciate it. Also, go follow me on Twitter. And you can find me on the Purple Discord at Mooner. I love to like share my opinions and all that stuff and teach people how to play Wizard, and that's what we're all here for. Anyways, let's get into this tier list. I borrowed this tier list from Mansant, so shout out to Mansant. It was just the first one I found on Tier List Maker. Usually I make my own, but he had already made one. So after babbling a whole bunch, let's just get into it. So I like how he has this set up as decks to beat, then A, B, C, and D. And I'm going to kind of leave it like that, but I'm going to explain my thoughts along the way. So obviously, we all know that Lexi is like, the number one deck to beat right now. She is the hero that is usually the highest represented. She has the most results, although she doesn't win tournaments. And sometimes she doesn't even make it in the top 8s of tournaments, like we saw in Calling Birmingham. Like, there was a shitload of Lexi representation, but she just didn't even make it in the top 8. She was hated out by Bravo. And I think that's a regional thing. I think that, Bravo isn't as popular over here in the States, but I could see him gaining popularity due to those results. But she is enemy number one as far as everybody is concerned. You're either playing Lexi or you have a plan to beat Lexi, and that's just the way it is. And up there with Lexi now, thanks to Rhea and Sam and Majin Bay, Icelander has won the last 4 major tournaments. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that because I am an Icelander main. This is my hero of choice, Icelander and Kano. But I think this is all just kind of like a little bit, I don't want to say smoke and mirrors, because she is putting up results and she is one of the strongest heroes in the game. Ice is one of the strongest talents in the game and most disruptive. But a lot of things had to go right for those wins to happen. Like, if you watched any of those tournaments and watched any of those games, like, Majin Bay technically could have lost that game to Dromai in the semifinals. Like, that Dromai just had to attack. They didn't realize they had an extra action point. And Rhea is fantastic and amazing human being and player as she is. She just kind of like ran through a whole shitload of people that didn't have any arcane barrier, and Wizard just wasn't being respected. And that is when Wizard is at its strongest, when it's not being respected. And then Sam over at the Calling Birmingham just like feasted upon Bravos and didn't like he even said that like he got extremely lucky and just like general leaded his way to the top 8 and through the top 8. And of course he did have to face Pablo Pintor off in the finals, and Pablo Pintor is arguably one of the best players in the world, but I mean, Icelander Bravo is just a really, really good matchup. And Pablo just kind of like lost that game. So, knowing all this information, like, do we still think Icelander is, the deck to beat? I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because there are going to be a shitload of bandwagon Icelanders out there. But they are not going to last. These people are not going to make it far in tournaments. Icelander is, if you want to be successful with Icelander right now, or any Wizard, you need to be a specialist. You need to know that hero inside and out. You need to know that hero like the back of your hand, like these players do, like Rhea does, like Majin Bey does, like Sam does. These are specialists in Icelander, and they know Wizard like the back of their hand. They know every single matchup and how to play into every single matchup. And that is what you have to be if you want to succeed with Icelander right now. She has a major, major target on her back, and there's going to be a lot of tech against her coming into national season. So if you plan on taking Icelander into national season, just expect to be like enemy number 1 or enemy number 2. You are going to be up there in those decks to beat. People are going to be looking for you and looking for ways to beat you. So just take that with a grain of salt. Like, if you plan on taking Icelander to a tournament, just know these things. Know that you must be a specialist. You must know that deck. You must have a plan. And you must be prepared for everybody to be teching against you. Now, having said that, like, I'm probably still going to play Icelander in my nationals. Or Kano. It's one of the two. Like, I'm a Wizard specialist, so I'm going to play one of the two. So, having mentioned Kano's name, let's put Kano somewhere here in this tier list. I personally think, and this is confirmation biased, but I think Kano is an A-tier hero. I think he is, the people who play Kano well, and they know how to play Kano. Now, I don't think he's at the top of A, but I think he is an insanely strong hero, and into this meta that we are going to be seeing like evolve into national season, I think Kano has a really, really good shot. Kano has a good matchup into Lexi. Kano also has a good matchup in the Icelander. I know there's a lot of people who say Icelander's favored the Kano, and a lot of people who say Kano's favored in the Icelander. The truth is that all these bandwagon Icelander players have no idea how to beat Kano, and that's just a fact. And coming from a Wizard main myself, this is just, you have to know how to beat Kano. And if you diddle around and fuck around, he's just going to stack a combo that you have no way to beat. And unless you're able to stack your Channel Lake Fridges and stack a combo of yourself, you're never going to beat Kano. So I think going into a meta of Lexi and Icelander, Kano is very, very well positioned. Now, third on this list, fourth on this list, I'm going to put Bravo, and I'm going to put Kano behind Bravo, because I think Bravo is another deck that a lot of people are going to jump on. He's seen a lot of success recently, as we just saw in Calling Birmingham. So, and people in the United States love their Guardian. They definitely love Guardian, and, Bravo is just kind of like Odin light right now. He's not as powerful as Odin, but he does fill that role slightly of being that, like, semi mid-range control deck, where he just wants to block you out a little bit and rack up some seismic service tokens and like hit you with Starstruck and just completely disrupt your game plan. If you are any of these decks that I've played, you need to have a plan for Bravo, and you need to be ready for Bravo to show up. And I think all of these nationals are going to be localized metas, but I think Bravo is up there in the A tier. I think he's a really strong deck. Speaking of rounding out the top of the really strong decks, I think we're going to have to talk about Dromai. And just the presence of Dromai is going to drop Kano down a tier for me. Dromai is an insanely hard matchup for Kano, but I think she is going to be highly, highly represented. Just as much as US players love their Guardian, they love Illusionists 10 times more. There is just this love for Dromai that I don't understand. Like, I guess I do understand it. I mean, it's dragons. Who doesn't love dragons, right? They're fucking dragons. And Dromai shows up. Like, any tournament I've ever gone to or any goes to, Dromai shows up. She doesn't convert, and maybe she will during this national season, but Dromai is definitely going to be there. So you need to have a plan in the Dromai. And I think the Dromai, Lexi matchup is pretty good. And depending on what version of Icelander you're running, it's either Dromai or Icelander favored, but depending on what version of Dromai. So there's two versions of Dromai right now. There's Redline Mara's build, Redline Dromai, and there is Big Blue Dragon Dromai. Lots of big dragons, lots of blues. That deck is very difficult for Icelander to deal with. Icelander does not deal with dragons that well, especially the bigger ones, and she doesn't deal with board presences very well. She has ways to kill the dragons in like the layer step and all that stuff, but if you are going to play Icelander or Lexi, you need to have a plan for Dromai, because Dromai is going to show up in droves. And I expect to see a lot of her at US Nationals. And I expect to see both builds. I expect to see Big Dragon Dromai and Redline Dromai. The community is completely split. Half of it thinks that Big Dragon Dromai is the way to go, and the other half thinks Mara is the goddess. And, she's the one who puts up the results, and she is the best, representation of that deck. Obviously, she's the founder of that deck and everything, but I just, other people who play it just don't play it as well. But you still need to have a plan for Dromai. Next on the list, I want to talk about the ninjas, and I want to talk about Katsu and Fi together. I think Fi is hella slept on, and I think there's some teams out there right now who are taking advantage of that. Fi is still a really strong deck, even with the loss of Belittle and all that stuff. Fi can still out aggro people. He can still throw 30 damage turns. The same with Katsu. Katsu is still a really strong deck. If you don't want to block and you want to let him just do his thing and tutor out like combo pieces, he's just going to run you over. I think the ninjas are really strong, and certain metas, like certain regions, like Europe loves their ninjas. There are certain parts of the United States that just love their ninjas, and I think the ninjas are going to really show up this national season. I think there are, I don't think they necessarily belong in A tier. I just think that the representation of them is going to be very high. I think you're going to see a lot of ninjas. Another hero I think you're going to see a lot of, and you need to be prepared for, and deservedly so, is going to be Azuri. Azuri has proved time and time again that she just makes these top 8 cuts, and she squeaks in there. There's also two variants of Azuri out there. There is the more redline aggro Azuri, and then there is the more fatigue-oriented, like just value grinding Azuri. And both of them are very, very good, and both of them target different heroes. Azuri can struggle into Dromai, and Azuri can struggle into Icelander very difficultly, but she preys on the Lexis, and she also has a tough time into Dromai. But through all this, we've seen her make top cuts time and time again. So you're going to see a lot of Azuri, and you need to have a plan for her. The next hero I want to be hero. I'm going to change the title of B to Dark Horse. Okay. So the decks to beat, we have obviously the decks to beat. These are going to be Icelander and Lexi. These are the decks that are going to show up the most, and these are the decks that you have to have a plan to beat if you want to succeed this national season. A tier or all the tier is all the decks that I think are going to show up and going to have a large representation, and you're going to see specialists on these heroes. And it's going to be a good majority of these decks. These are decks that I think you can play and you can do well with if you are a specialist. If you know this deck inside and out and you have plans for all these other heroes and you have plans for success, that you will do well. And I think up there in this tier, we have to put Dory, we have to put Azalea, and we have to put Dash. I think there are just diehard Dash specialists, and there are so many variants of Dash. And even though she has the smallest card pool in the world, in the game, she has the smallest card pool, but she still is a very strong hero that can just turtle up and just play the long game and set up her items and just pistol you out, or she could just go zoom and boost and out aggro you. But I think you're gonna see Dash. But this tier list is kind of the way I'm setting it up is the further down you go, the less of them you are going to see. But I still think Dash is a very strong hero, and you are going to see her show up a little bit. Finally, I think we're going to see some Bravo Briar enthusiasts trying to get her over the line, and I really do think she is going to. Hopefully, pray to God, she is going to LL this season. Not because I don't think that Briar offers something to the meta, but it's just, she has just been hanging around far too long, and it's not Briar. I think Briar is a fantastic matchup for me as a Wizard player, but it's just Rosetta Thorn. It's just time to see that weapon go. In the Dark Horse, I want to put Leviah in the Dark Horse tier, and I also want to put Azuri in the Dark Horse tier. Now, I think there are some teams and there are some professional players out there who have cracked the code on both of these heroes, and they have just not displayed it yet. They're saving this tech and these decks for national season, and I think you're going to see them show up in a real big way. And I think that you need to be aware that they are going to show up. And they're my dark horse picks. I think I've played against some Vincent builds that are incredibly strong. And I've also played against some really mopey, just sucky Vincent builds. But I think that the people who are dedicating their time to Vincent right now really know what they're doing, and I think that this deck has been figured out, and I think you just haven't seen it yet because people are waiting till national season to bring this deck out, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people, and I think it's going to get a lot of wins, and I think it's going to make waves. So I think Vincent is at the top of my dark horse. I'm going to put Kano a little lower, and then we're going to talk about just the heroes that you just shouldn't be playing. And that's just going to be Arachne, Riptide, Viscerite, sadly, Bolton, and we're going to put Rhinar in Dark Horse. And then we're also going to put Prism down here. But I'm going to put Prism at the top of C, just below the Dark Horse, because Prism has the biggest question mark on it for me right now. Obviously, she is, from what everybody knows about Prism right now, she's a terrible deck. She just has the lowest win rates on Talishar. She anytime she does show up to a tournament, she gets just smashed out. But I do think that people like Fino, and there are teams out there that are really, really, really working hard on her, trying to figure this out. Like Brian Gottlieb and James Boyd have both said that she is a really big puzzle and that she's going to take a long time to figure out. And Fab players like challenges and they love puzzles. Every game of Flesh and Blood is almost like a puzzle that you have to figure out. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that are dedicating a lot of time to Prism. And I would not be surprised if she just shows up and just smashes and just spikes a national somewhere. I would not be surprised if like the Polish people have like Polish teams have like figured her out, or someone here in the United States has figured her out and she just shows up. So she has the biggest question mark on her right now. She could be at the bottom of Dark Horse or like at the top of C. Either you don't play her at all or you figured her out, and there is no in between. She is just either at the bottom of C, like here, or right here. So you either don't play her or you figured her out, and I think she's somewhere right in the middle. Prism just has the biggest question mark on her for me right now. As a Wizard player, I hope to God that nobody figures her out, because she's a terrible matchup for me. But the builds that I've faced, I'm not too worried about. It's these like heavy aura builds that run like Merciful and Genesis and all that stuff. And as me, Weather Vane player, that's just like the last thing I want to see is Merciful Retribution. But she does have the lowest win rates on Talishar right now, and she does have the lowest percentage of people playing her at bigger tournaments, and nobody's showing up with her. But I think that somebody will figure this puzzle out. And I would not be surprised if she shows up and just spikes the tournament. But so, we're going to put her at the bottom of Dark Horse just because I do believe that somebody has figured her out, or there is some team out there that has really cracked the code on her. Now, you might be wondering why I put Bolton and Viscerai down here in the C tier, which is just, for me, it's just you don't play them. Don't bring them to a national season if you really want to win. If you're like a hella specialist and you're absolutely in love with Arachne or Riptide or Viscerai or Bolton, that's on you. Just be prepared that the rest of the A tier is just going to smoke you out. And Viscerai, just the presence of Warmonger's diplomacy just absolutely nullifies that deck. Any hopes of Viscerai ever succeeding, just like he runs into a Warmongers and he just like his turn is just blanked and it just time walks him. And there's 3 time walks in the deck, and that's all it takes to just like, And the same thing with Bolton. If you're gonna try to combo off and you could just get hit with a Warmongers, you're just so fucking sad. And it's just, as an Icelander player, I love that card, but I understand why a lot of people think it's toxic. I understand why the Rune Blades think it's just absolutely toxic. And we might want to put that's why I want to put Azalea back here, because I do think she is an incredibly strong deck. But the decks that are going to run Warmongers, decks like Bravo and decks like Icelander and the Ninjas, decks like Fi and Katsu, who the floor of that card is just a 0-cost blue block 3. Which is just everything Katsu wants to see, which is everything Icelander and Bravo wants to see. They're going to really hate out on Azalea. But if she can run through these other decks, I think she is really strong. She has a really good matchup into Lexi. Lexi does not want to run Warmongers. That's just going to fuck her over. The same thing with Dash, and the same thing with Dory. And the same thing with like Briar and so you're going to see Warmongers really warp this meta, and this is what I think your national season is going to look like. I think you're going to see all these heroes show up in A tier, and I think they're all going to do pretty well, and they all have a really good shot of top 8ing. And I think Icelander and Lexi have the biggest targets on the back right now. So if you show up to one of these tournaments, you either need to be playing these heroes or you need to have a plan into both of them. Not just one, into both, because you're going to see a lot of Lexi and you're going to see a lot of Icelander. Because I don't think Icelander is the best deck. Far from it. I think she still is an A tier hero. I just think that her wins right now, like she put up numbers. And if you really dissect those tournaments like I have and watch those games, you'll see that she just got incredibly lucky and was played by incredibly skilled pilots. Like who just knew exactly what they were doing. So if you plan to play Icelander, you need to be that. You need to be an incredibly skilled Icelander player who knows exactly what to do and how to play into every single hero in the A tier and every single hero in the Dark Horse tier. You need to know exactly how to play into every single matchup that you're going to face, or you're not going to make it far with Icelander. I guarantee you're not going to. And Lexi, we'll see. I do expect her to win some national tournaments this year, but I don't expect her to win U.S. nationals. I think that we're going to see one of the teams really crack Vincent. And Vincent is a really scary hero. She can play, like, with her rune gate just makes her be able to play these cards for free. So as long as she can banish one card from her hand and she has the rune chance, she can play it for free. So she is a little bit less prone to as much disruption. But you're gonna see a meta that looks something like this, in my opinion. This is what I've been seeing at events that I go to. This is what I've been seeing on Talishar, and I know Talishar is a horrible place to like gain meaningful data from, but I do play a lot of these heroes. I do test into a lot of these heroes, and this is what I think. And I think Prism, like I said, has the biggest question mark on her. Like, where is she? She is either like at the bottom of C, like D, don't bring, or someone figured her out and she is going to be like at the top of Dark Horse. Like, I don't think there is any in between. That she's either unplayable or she's going to spike a tournament and someone's figured her out. But for right now, I'm going to leave her in the D tier, and I'm going to label that with a complete question mark, because I don't know. I'm not trying to figure her out, and I'm hoping to God nobody does figure her out, because I'm either going to be playing, my boy Kano or my girl Icelander, and I don't know. We'll see what I show up to nationals with. But I think Kano, if I just talk a little bit about Kano, and I will talk a little bit about Icelander, because we all know that I'm a Weather Vane player. I do not care for the Bullander style, and I do play it is my build is a full arcane build, but it relies is heavily on Weather Vanes and full disruption and fully time walking my opponents every turn and getting into these loops that they cannot possibly get out of. And I have a really good matchup into every single hero into the A tier, and Lexi. I think Weather Vane is really well positioned, but I think I have such a big target on my back that everybody is going to be teching against me, and just like AB3 and E-Pots and Tunic just like make my life miserable. And if people start respecting Icelander, I think it's just going to be really difficult to perform with her. But also Kano. The guys I know a lot of guys who are going to be showing up with Kano, and these guys are like diehard Kano players. These are specialists. These are people that you need to be prepared for. So if you are showing up to U.S. Nationals this year, you have to be prepared for Wizards. I have a whole slew of us that I know about that are showing up with Wizard this year, and they're all really, really dedicated diehard Wizard players, and they're all really good. There's a whole team that's just testing strictly on Wizard. And they have answers for all of the meta, and they're not worried about AB. We all know how to pitch stack. We're not worried about fatigue. We're not worried about any of that stuff. What we are worried about is everybody teching for Icelander, and therefore us getting this collateral damage of just everybody having running Oasis Respite and AB3 and all this stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure who I'm gonna bring this year. I'm testing really heavily into both heroes, but who I show up with will be a surprise. But these are my thoughts. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're a new player and you're looking for a deck to pick up, and you're not necessarily going to nationals, you just want to show up to your armory and learn how to play the game, pick any single hero that you resonate with, that you vibe with, and learn that hero. These heroes down here in the C tier, in the Dark Horse tier, they are going to get support eventually. Even Dash, Like, she is at the bottom of A, but she is maybe at the top of Dark Horse or something like that, behind Vincent. But she's getting a whole new set, completely dedicated to Mechanologist next. We're going the metrics, and it is completely all Mechanologist set. So if you vibe with any of these heroes down in Dark Horse or C tier, and you're just like, I just want to learn how to play the game, and I think Viserai is hella cool, or I think Riptide is just like super gnarly, just learn that hero, and eventually it will get support, and it'll get a card. Somebody will break it wide open, and it will become like an A or S tier hero eventually. So don't take these tier lists for anything that, like, you know, I have to play the best deck, or I have to play this deck. Like, if that's you, like, fine, play the best deck. But if you're not like that, just play what you like, man, and learn it. And learn it well. And learn all the matchups. And you'll do good. You'll do fine. All right, with that, I'm going to scoot over to the giveaway. So I am giving away the Waning Moon playmat, and I will be talking about that next. Thanks. All right, what is up, Wizards? It's Mooner again. Thanks for sticking around this long, and thank you guys so much for all the love and the support and everything throughout these last few months. It really means absolutely everything to me. I just started this channel as just, a way to show people the power and my love for Icelander and Weatherbane and all that stuff and Wizard, and really just to teach people how to play Wizard and try to get people as excited about all of the Wizards as I am. And it's grown massively, way more than I expected it to in such a short amount of time. I'm over like 350 subscribers. Wanted to do this giveaway when I hit 300, but it just kept going. Anyways, I am giving away this beautiful, luxurious, gorgeous, amazing Waning Moon playmat that is signed by Mark Poole. It's an official Flesh and Blood playmat. And it is signed by Mark Poole down here in the corner. And as an extra special bonus for my Kano players, I am also giving away a cold foil potion of Deja Vu that will be included in this. Now listen, here's all you have to do to win this. I was trying to think of a real cheeky way to figure out, a winner of this. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to sound off in the comments. First of all, let me make this clear. You must be a subscriber of this channel, okay? And then you got to sound off in the comments of where you're from and who you predict to win your nationals this year. So let's just say you are from, Poland, and you say, I think Lexi is going to win my nationals. Well, if you are right and you predict correctly, I'm going to choose from a list of people randomly and give this playmat away. I will be going to U.S. Nationals this year, and I will bring this with me. So if you are from the United States and you choose correctly and you are at Nationals, I'll just give it to you there. But here's the caveat. If you are international, I'm still going to give this away, but you must pay for the shipping. I am not going to pay for the international shipping. So whatever that costs, I'll stick it in the tube, and you got to pay for the shipping, but you get the signed playmat, and you get the cold foil potion of Deja Vu. So once again, you must be a subscriber of this channel, and you got to sound off in the comments of where you're from and who you predict is going to win your nationals this year, 2023. All right, that's it. Good luck to everybody, and if you are at Nationals in the United States this year, hit me up. Let me know who you are. All my Kano bros, all my Wizard bros, just like, I'm going to be there. Let's meet up. Let's have a good time. Let's crush Nationals. All right, peace out, Wizards. Love and peace.